What that will do to the dollar if we get dropped as the world's reserve currency is unpredictable, but nothing good will happen with the dollar.
So, get your coat off. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, hi there.
Zelensky making a speech to Congress, right?
Yes, basically what he was telling Biden is if you're going to be the leader of the free world, you need to lead. Unfortunately, if you're trying to convince the United States government to do something, even if it's just something for humanitarian needs, it doesn't do any good to address the puppet. You need to address the puppeteers.
Get ready for SD Bullion's Monster Box sweepstakes that includes 500 Silver Eagles. You could be the next lucky recipient of a phone call like this.
This is Dr. Tyler Wall, CEO of SD Bullion. Well, I'm calling you to let you know that you won the SD Bullion giveaway of a Monster Box of Silver Eagles.
So click the link below for your chance to win.
Honestly, I don't think the puppeteers in this country understand anything because they're socialists, so they don't understand economics. They're climate freaks, so they don't understand that energy is the engine of every economy. But we're headed for disaster. I hope that the president has enough judgment left to shed these people and strike out on his own.
It's a matter of trust, and I think trust has been lost. Yeah. I think it's been lost in our government for a while. The guy in the White House, Congress, we don't trust our politicians at all.
Yeah.
We don't trust the medical community, especially after what we went through. We don't trust them to tell us the truth. Yeah. We don't trust our Federal Reserve, central banks. They can't fight inflation. We don't trust the media. We don't trust the markets. We don't trust our currency.
Well, when the government meddles in all those things, that's when you really have to do your own research to find out what to believe. As an example, there's more medical knowledge about coronavirus than any disease in the history of mankind, and people are still dying from it? Well, how's that possible? I've heard stories lately of people going into hospitals with COVID that are made comfortable till they die. And not being administered any of the monoclonal antibodies, anything, okay, because of the state mandates, and doctors who are afraid of losing their licenses. I mean, it's
immoral.
More than immoral. It's
heinous. It's a crime.
Things that are going on around the world are horrible. It's like we've discussed Putin many times. It's like I'm shocked at this strategy. The strategy makes no sense.
I don't think we trust his judgment all that much now.
Well, I mean, it may be communication between him and the generals, but between he and the generals. But killing women and children and bombing hospitals is pretty bad optics. Any way you cut it.
You lost your wholesaler to the virus.
Yeah, and it was a good friend as well. And I'm still angry about it.
You trust your wholesalers. You trusted your wholesaler, I should say, very deeply. And you need that to run a business. You have to be able to have it. It's built on trust. Yeah.
And, it's if you're dealing with a big company instead of an individual who is very efficient, very knowledgeable, and ran a tight ship, you don't have any say at all when you're running with, you're dealing with a large company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Canadian Maple Leafs. Not spoken for.
Not spoken for. That's a problem. Okay. I've been waiting for a Monster Box from Canada for over a month. And they're at a fairly high price, but that may be why they're not here yet.
What about rounds? You have any rounds?
Rounds are, I think I can sell some at 30. The others are going to be 31. And that's been a delivery problem, serious delivery problem.
How about quarters, silver quarters? You have any of those?
I have to fill out an order, and then I might have some more. But what the shortage on quarters is, I can't tell you. I have no idea.
I think I might have something to do with that. Do you have half dollars?
Oh, you could be, yeah. Buy them around the country now. And $50 I have plenty.
Okay.
Enough to last a couple of years.
How about dimes? You have plenty?
Dimes, no, I don't. And that's unusual because I offered to buy a bag of dimes and a bag of quarters, and they couldn't come up with them.
How about gold?
Well, I have maple leafs.
You have maples.
And I have some really expensive ones coming in. So they say.
If you have a delay from your wholesaler, you're going to get hammered.
This is the price, second day air delivery, okay? And that was almost a month ago. So, yes, I bought them. I secured the price at a very high amount in the way the market used to be, up around 2,000, and haven't received them yet. So, I may just put those away. I think it's 20 or 30 of them.
Okay.
I may put them away until the market recovers. If it doesn't, then I'll just start selling them at a loss. Wow. Yeah, it's.
This is wild. Premiums too. They're just going up and up.
No matter who you're doing business with, you got to be able to trust that person, and that's the way it used to be. I'm not sure what's going on in this market, but deliveries are being stretched out, and they'll be glad to take your money, and they can take it right out of my account. So they're doing all right. They're paying their salaries.
So currency, the lack of trust there. The Saudis are reportedly talking about selling their oil to China for the yuan.
Yes, Iran has been selling oil for things like gold or other commodities. The Russians have all kinds of commodities they can use. They control nickel, palladium, platinum. They've got access to a lot of gold. Nobody really needs the dollar as a reserve currency unless they're funneling everything through the IMF. They can pretty much strike their own deals. And China has been doing that for years. They've been striking their own deals with European countries or American companies. And, that's going to get worse. There's no reason to have a reserve currency based solely on the dollar. But what that will do to the dollar, if we get dropped as the world's reserve currency, is unpredictable. But nothing good will happen with the dollar.
Right.
Just consider how many dollars are floating around the world. Every country has dollars in cash reserves, just because there are small transactions where they may have to make conversions to the euro, conversions to other currencies at hotels or casinos or whatever, and that can all come flying back here.
When trust is lost, there's a flight to safety, and we saw that. We saw that with the launch of the conflict with Russia. Mm-hmm. We're seeing the price drop, like you and I both predicted, by the way, I must say. It's close to 1900 now, as of the recording of this video.
It's still above 1900. I'd be very surprised if it goes below 1900.
Oh, I wouldn't be. I think it'll break it.
Well, look at the amount of inflation we're having.
I know. I just heard, you were in a band?
I was.
You had long hair?
I did.
You have a picture?
I don't think so.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
May.
The police? Wait.
I'm just joking.
Okay, good.
No,
what'd you play?
I played rhythm guitar and did most of the vocals. Before I went in the Army, I actually had a voice.
Wow. The Army took that from you, huh?
I went in the Army, did training at Fort Dix in 1969. It was the worst weather they can remember up to that time. And everybody in the platoon I was in had strep throat or some other nasty disease. Someone went to the hospital with pneumonia. It was really bad. And you go to a hospital, an Army hospital in the wintertime, whatever you're bringing into the hospital, everybody gets. And I worked in a hospital for a little while as an orderly, and the infection was just rampant. But that's 1969. Not the same medical community that we have today.
Oh man, how many people would like to see Tim jamming on the guitar? That would have been cool.
I haven't picked up a guitar in probably so many years. I probably should do it again though. I'd love to play the guitar if I had time. Except I'm spending 24 hours a day in here. Then you'd have all the NATO countries fighting against Russia. That is a world war. That's a world war. I mean, they're obligated
why do we
on
even
Article
have
5.
to fight for all intents and purposes? And
Well,
another
yes.
little bit of history too. Just FYI, the Sudetenland, 1936. Hitler goes into Czechoslovakia because what? Ethnic Germans live there.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to protect them.
Well, this is the same
Okay.
thing that's happening in
Crimea
Ukraine.
and eastern Ukraine.
Well, Crimea is 97% Russian.
Right.
And, this Azov battalion has killed 14,000 Russians since 2014.
Yeah.
I mean, if they had addressed that problem in the beginning, there wouldn't have been a war. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah.
And they still are not addressing the problem. The oligarchs off, cruising the world in their in their yachts.
Isn't that nice?
And I think Zelensky, I think they're all surprised at him. He's turned into a leader, and he's trying to save his country.
Right.
It's a tough puzzle to put together because he doesn't have the support of the oligarchs. He doesn't have the support of the military, who God only knows who's running the military over there.
Well, it seems like they're kind of incompetent on the ground war part.
Well, most of the military operations are conducted by this group from the east of Ukraine called the Azov Battalion. Now it's about the size of a regiment.
Right.
But these guys are mercenaries. They're soldiers of fortune from all over the world in this group. The core of the group is a neo-Nazi group. They're drug traffickers. Everything that's bad about those people exists, and the Ukraine government doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I think eventually the skies will close, but it'll be under the umbrella of humanitarian reasons. That's the only way. If they can, right now they have a curfew for humanitarian reasons, and they got to get some sort of compliance out of Russia, and I don't think they have that yet. But with a few failed ground operations from the Russians, maybe Putin will agree to a ceasefire. That's really necessary, but they have to give them a few carrots because they've ignored the killing since 2014 in those eastern provinces. And this group is based in Mariupol, and a lot of them were holed up in hospitals. That's the way they operate. So unless they either agree to disband the Azov battalion and have some sort of comments about the sovereignty of these two eastern provinces, and Putin's got no reason to stop.
All right.
But they really
gentlemen later.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to cut you off, even if people yell at me in the comments, because you got people here needing to buy some silver and gold. So I'll be back.